for tonight. Finally here, Sunday, Cosmic Sundays. It's here, y'all. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to my sister Faye.
Absolutely. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. All right. Super, super excited for tonight, everyone. Super excited. Let me get it up. Let me know if you can see my screen, sis.
I can, most excellent.
Okay, cool. I always want to make sure got everything up and running correctly. Man, this is gonna be one of my most exciting, I think, nights tonight, episodes or whatever you want to call it, shows, whatever. Finally something that's right up our alley, something that we've really been wanting to do and just bring to the table, to the world, as Moors, those of y'all watching who may watch later or tune in with us tonight, as always, we say welcome, we say and thank you so much. You could be anywhere in this great big world of ours, but you are here giving us your energy with this cipher, and we thank everyone. Me myself, I always like to ask folks to give me your blessing, and that's something that I picked up and learned that we really are supposed to do in our, I guess you would say, culture as Moors, in the Islamic sphere of things, that is. Always ask your forefathers, your ancestors, your elders in life before you go do anything. And it used to be that way very much during whenever we would go to battle, go to war with enemies. You leave home with your family, your loved ones, and warriors would always get the blessings of their families and kiss their hands before leaving, going off to battle. And they will always say, give me your blessing. So I always stuck with that. That's something that always stuck out to me. And especially I noticed it on one of my, favorite TV show I'm always telling people about, from Turkey. But anyway, that's such a beautiful thing. So I'm gonna begin incorporating that, into my daily life, because this is something that you definitely, want to have the blessing of your loved ones. Uh, Elders, be it your elders still here with you or your ancestors that have transitioned, that's always a beautiful thing, always. And I'm very much into getting us back on track with, doing those types of things, getting back to the essence in life, learning what really matters in life, and bringing that back to the young ones of my generation that are behind us, especially. But more importantly, you gotta help teach that to my fellow peers, brothers and sisters that are my age. Because one thing that I notice, taking stock and just paying attention to detail in life, we would be so much more of a better people if we understood what honoring our family really means. What
Absolutely.
what it means to honor your grandmother, your grandfather, because without the two of them together, you would not be here. Therefore, your mother and father, your mother that you came from, or father, would not be here without them. So getting back to that is very much something that I look forward to implementing and just showing the way as much as I can. So yeah. So anyway, I want to do that kind of sort of right now and honor my sister Faye here with us, Denise Faye. Oops, sorry. They know you mostly by Faye. I know you by the other name, but for all intents and purposes, Sister Faye, my bad. Thank you for being with us always, sis. Such a beautiful moment. And for those of y'all that don't know, Sister Faye is very much an integral part of the Drop Squad Live, but also a part of my life. So, give honors to what we consider her here at the Drop Squad and the crew, our matriarch of the family. She's our spiritual navigator, the L. Is it L you chose, sis?
Yes,
L.
I did.
L. That's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing, because that's another thing, but we'll get into that at a later school night. But not tonight. Tonight, the main focus is getting us all into the Circle 7 Koran, which is such, I don't know why I didn't think to start this off when we first started the Drop Squad, but we're here now. The past is the past. Today is today, and tomorrow will be tomorrow, but only as we dictate it. So moving forward, we're going to move forward with Allah, with the spirit of Allah within us, spirit of Noble Drew Ali, our prophet, peace be upon him. And here we go. So far, it's just the two of us, as y'all can see, but others will be here. I've got the word out. Hopefully everyone sees it on the Insta in every way possible on both pages. I'm gonna keep my eye out on my phone. So if y'all see me looking off, I got my phone right here to the side. Whew. Anyway, with that being said and all out of the way, yeah, here we go. Cosmic Sunday, February the 21st, 2021. And this is the Drop Squad Live Show. Welcome to everyone. Hope everyone, if you don't have your Circle 7 and a physical copy, that is all fine and well. That's the beauty of technology. So if you don't have it physically, don't worry about it. Those that tuning in, we got you at the Drop Squad. I got you on the technical tip of things. I got it for everyone here with the PDF. I'm hoping this is the correct one, because I saw several online, but this was the first one that popped up. So we're gonna go with that tonight. But if it's the incorrect one, if anybody feels it's the incorrect one, hit me up during the show, whatever, the chat or whatever. Let's get the rocking. How are you? How you feel about that, sis? You ready to roll or
Ready to roll?
want to get in? All right, we're just gonna get into it. Wasted enough time, me being in traffic. So let's get on into it. Let's get this thing going. All right. First 3 chapters of what we discussed Wednesday night. For those that weren't here, I apologize for not getting that episode up. That episode really wasn't much, just us talking, shooting the breeze. But out of that came something good, as you all see tonight. We decided to do this. And so the spirit of Allah definitely, as it was Wednesday night, was with us, so we could hope and pray that the spirit of Allah is with us tonight and will be with us tonight. Okay, let me make sure I got everything. All right, squared away over here. All right. First 3 chapters, let's get it going. The creation. No, I do apologize for the little hiccup, little brief moment it takes me to find all of this. Let me make sure I'm at the right page. I think that said 9. No, that's chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 1. Here we go. Here we go. Sis, can you see it?
Hold on 1 second. Oh. Uh-oh. I gotta get back to you. My phone. Yes. I can see it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure for all the other people out there. Sis, you're probably gonna be following from the hard copy you have, physical copy, okay, right?
I don't have it in front of me, but I'm trying to pull it up on the line now.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me know when you're ready to rock and you got everything. I'm gonna get my water so I can stay hydrated. Give me 1 second on that. Right here. Oh, and I need my charger. Uh-oh. Can't have the show without the charges. Mess around in the laptop and my phone go dead. Can't have that tonight. All right. Uh-oh. Court. While I get this done, hold on. Faye, how have you been today? Was everything all right?
Oh yeah, everything was. I had a beautiful day. Uh, got a chance to sit down with a sister and converse with her, and it was just beautiful.
Oh, yeah, that's great to hear. That's great to hear always. Always good to hear about the good days. Always good to hear about the good days. Okay, wait. I want to get tangled up out here. Okay. Apologies, everyone. Make sure I got everything that we need. All right, plug that in. Put this over here. Okay. Well, that's good to hear, sis. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we ready to roll. All right, so here we go, everybody. Chapter 1. Tonight, we're going to be over the first 3 chapters of the Quran, just so everybody's up to speed and understands what's going on for us tonight. So here we go. Here we go. Chapter 1, the creation of man, the creation and fall of man. Time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No really. I apologize for that. They'll let you know, folks, the devil is already busy with this. Lord have mercy. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't know what happened. Lost the connection. Are y'all still there? Can y'all still hear me?
I can.
Okay, I do apologize for that. Get us back going again. All right. All right. Chapter 1 of the Quran. The creation and fall of man. All right, let's get into it. Back again. Time never was when man was not. If life of a man at any time began, a time would come when it surely would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No infinite mind can comprehend things infinite. All infinite things are subject unto change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and the souls of men are finite things, and they will change. Yea, from the finite point of view, the time will come when they will be no more. But man himself is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Excuse me. Creative fate gave to man, to spirit man, a soul, that he might function on the plane of soul, gave him a body of the flesh, that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative fate give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative fate give to a soul a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? I'm gonna stop right there. Sis, would you help to explain what you believe that means?
Okay. So the first part of this is talking about there was never a time that man was not. The thoughts of Allah, the thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. That means there's no boundaries to the thought of Allah. And when we look at that, we know that all things are possible. Everything that was ever going to be created has already been thought of, created in the mind of God. Or Allah. Okay, everything that was ever going to be has already been done. And in Allah time, there's no beginning or end. Okay. When we descended down here, we all have to remember that we are thoughts of Allah. And if we think of Allah as far as, being the mind of God and going back to the seven universal principles, which the first one is all is mind, and the universe is mental. So when Allah created us as one of his thoughts, and we are down here performing in order to grow, okay? We're not the body, okay? We're not the body. But if we were given a body, our infinite body is the soul. And what our spirit is who we are, because that was his thought for us. Do that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yes.
Okay. So this is going back to the universal principle that all is mind and the universe is mental. And if anybody read the seven Hermetic principles, the first one is talking about the mind of God. So we're all are within the mind of God. We're all thoughts of God. We all are his creations. And even if we look on the physical plane, they tell you, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Right.
Okay. So we were created in the image of God. So our thoughts are creations as well. And that's how we are part of God, because we do the same things with our thoughts and how we think. As a man thinketh, so is he. As God thought, he created us. Each individual spirit, okay, that is housed in a body.
Right.
Okay, and that body is the soul, and that's the incorruptible thing. The flesh is the corruptible. The soul is the incorruptible. And the soul is just like a vehicle that operates on this plane. Okay, it's a vehicle that operates on this plane. So even after we discard this fleshly body, the soul goes on.
Right.
It's incorruptible. It never dies.
Right.
And we have to remember thoughts are things, right? Even our thoughts are things. We manifest things to our thought, because any deed that's done first begin with a thought. It's the same thing.
Right. Right. So rather than asking whether the chicken came before the egg, that's indiscretion. That's it's of no true purpose or meaning. What is the thought? That is stop. That is the question.
Right.
That makes sense.
It makes sense to me. And when we get out of we put ourselves in a box because we think that things are physical. But even the scientists tell us, even when they look down within an atom, there is nothing but empty space. You see what I'm saying? This is and that's why they call this the realm of illusions, because we think things are solid, but they really are not. And this is and the ancients understood this, and this is why they could do so many what we consider magical or incredible things. It's because they had an understanding of what matter is. Matter is just spirit manifest. You taking the unseen and bringing it into the realm of the seen world. And on this dimension, we can only see 7 spectrums of light. And we see them, I mean, we know that from the light shining through from the rainbow, through a prism. So we're here in this box of 7 lights, okay? Mm-hmm. We only can see those 7 lights, but there's other things below, and there's other things above that spectrum. The 7 spectrum lies in the middle. So the things above, and there's things below. And we're what people consider Midgard. We're in what they consider Midgard, okay? In the realm of manifestation.
Say that again. What's the name of it?
Midgard. We're in the realm of Midgard. And it's based on light, because it tells us in the Bible that God is what? Light. So what do you have? You have thought. Thought creates light. Light speeds down to create sound.
Correct.
So even within light, we know there's ultraviolet light, that's the light above, and there's infrared light, that's the light below. Mm-hmm. Which we don't, with these 2 eyes, we can't see the light below, and we can't see the light above unless we open up certain chakras. And then we become, when our I be single, when we become one within ourselves, that means that our thoughts and our deeds become one. Then we can see the light above, and we can see the light below, and the scales fall from our eyes.
Correct.
So the possibility is endless. We think that things have limits, but they only have the limits that we place on them by our indoctrination, by our misunderstanding, because everything we think, we create. And so if someone is there programming us, we don't see all there is to see, because we're stuck in the lower realms of light, which is the red light. And they say red means what? Stop. So that red light is the lower chakra, which is the root chakra. And as we climb our chakras, we're privy to see other light spectrums. And I know that's a lot, but when you go back and read it, and it's talking, and this is how the body was created, through these lights. Because all this light, it tells you, I know a lot of Moors don't like the Bible, but it tells you 2 things that God is. God is love, and God is what? Light.
Love and light.
Love and light.
Peace. When we say goodbye to someone, I noticed, was it AJ, or I believe AJ or 106 in Park, or either it was Free. They used to say peace, love, and light whenever the show would end.
Right.
I always remember that. Okay.
And so when we get down here and a little bit farther, it's gonna, like he said, the flesh. Okay, it says here, why did creative fate give to soul a body of flesh, that he might function on the planes of things that are made manifest? And that's what I was just talking about. So we live on Midgard, the area of things that are manifest. Okay. And it said, "Hear ye are cherubims, seraphims, and angels, and ye men." And the seraphims and cherubims are grays of angels, and angels are just light, angels, angles of light, and in a hierarchy. And then it goes on.
I'm muted over here. I'm sorry.
Oh, I
was just talking. I was just talking. I'm muted. My bad. Okay. where were we at? Let's get, you want to get back into it.
Here now.
Here now, okay. Take that. I tell you what, let's, me and you, we do it. I read one section, you read the next. So take off
Okay.
on this for us.
Okay.
Sister.
Here now, O protoplasm in earth and plant and beast. Here now, ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Here now, ye winds that blow, ye thunders and lightnings of sky. Here now, ye spirits of fire, of water, of earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. For wisdom speaks from out the highest plane of spirit life. And so I'm going to stop right there. And we're going to talk about the worlds. So there's four worlds that he just mentioned. Fire, water, air, and earth. And this is also Yahweh, okay? This is also everything that was made. It's talking about the descent of things. Fire being the first tier, water being the next tier, air being the third tier.
I'm sorry, sis. I just wanted to let you know. I found a video while you're doing it. I want to play the video while you speaking on, because it's a visual representation of what you're just saying. If that's okay with you.
That's fine.
If you
and earth.
Okay.
Earth is the fourth tier. Okay. So everything begins with fire, and it's talking about how energy or light descends. So it descends through the four worlds. And I'm just going to keep it simple. And I'm not going to use, Kabbalah words like, foundation and all that. We're just looking at it from the perspective of creation. From fire, we're looking at fire, then water, then air, then earth. And then we can even use it in simple forms where people can understand the science are in these texts. Even when, what is the first thing on the periodic table? The first thing on the periodic table is the hydrogen atom.
Right.
And the hydrogen atom, which is one, okay? And when you look at the hydrogen atom, it looks just like the sun. It's a circle, and then it has one proton, I believe it's proton in the center. I think it's proton. Okay, that's the hydrogen atom. That represents fire. The hydrogen atom is the beginning of life. And then you have water. Well, we know that water is 2 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms, H2O. And then we have air. Everyone knows when you mix fire and water together, what do you get?
You get steam.
You get steam. So here we go with air. And then when we're talking about earth, we're talking about things that are manifest, things that are solid. So the last thing is what? Earth. So that's the coagulation of fire, water, and air. Condense makes earth.
Right.
So it's also telling you things about, science. Is giving you the plant kingdom, and it's talking about the kingdom of beasts. Now, we also know within the kingdoms, there's 4 kingdoms. And I believe those 4 kingdoms is the mineral kingdom. Let's see. Is it mineral? Is it fungi? Then mineral. I believe it's fungi, mineral, plant, and then animal. And that's your 4 kingdoms.
Right.
The protoplasm, we're going to say that that's probably what they're talking about is the ethers. Those are your kingdoms that exist on this plane. Everything is here. There's nothing that's outside of here.
Right.
And I don't know how to, there's different dimensions of what is here, but everything is contained, but uncontained. And I don't know how to You really have to understand that from within. Everything is
It's
contained.
just like,
Go
right.
ahead.
It's just like the dimensions on the show where they show it. They do a good job on that show, His Dark Materials. Where they show the dimensions, and we have our Earth, right? Where we know the world as, and then there's other people on another dimension who have a mirror version of our world. They both look like the same exact place, only it's in reverse of the names of what they call everything. So like it's like dimensions. So when they talk about the ice walls or the domes keeping people in, and then it's separating other worlds, but we're all living on Mother Earth, but
Right.
it's different domains. That's why they say, I've heard people say, I used to hear my father say this when I was a little girl, about how really the world is up, really what we think of North America, we're really in South America, and what we've been told is South America is really North. It's in reverse, if that makes any sense.
Well, a lot of things that we are finding out that have been reversed. Okay, because everything remember that I said everything starts with the unseen first, and it descends, it comes down through worlds. And we could just name those worlds: fire, water, air, and earth.
Right.
Okay. So all of those dimensions or levels of worlds is right here, coagulated and made solid in earth.
Right.
Oh, hey, brother Kim.
Peace.
Hey, Cam, how you doing, bro? How
Okay.
are you? Good to have you with us. We just getting into we getting into the Quran and everything right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can go on. It says, like I stated earlier, man is a what? Thought
Of Allah.
of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. Okay. They are not measured up by time, for things that are concerned with time begin and end. And I kind of discussed that a little bit in my previous statement. And even in this dimension, we can even look at time. Time is we know the sun rises and the sun sets, and a time is relevant. Even here, there's really not times but seasons. There's things when that, in Ecclesiastes, I believe that's Ecclesiastes 3, teaches us there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. You see what I'm saying? Well, where under the sun, where time exists, right? It's a time and a season for everything that's under the sun. So things happen within seasons. And as you look at the Hermetic texts again, the 7 universal laws, and we talking about that pendulum swing. You have up times and down times, and that's what Ecclesiastes is talking about. It's a time to reap, it's a time to sow, it's a time to reap, it's a time to cry, it's a time to rejoice, everything, time is relevant. If you ever notice with time, if you're having a good time, you don't even pay attention to time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You having a good time, 5, 6, 7 hours then pass. But if you sitting at work somewhere you don't want to be, time is slow.
Yeah.
Slow as a motherfucker.
Okay.
Indeed. You sitting up like, man, how long I gotta be up in here in this prison? Like, what time is my community service over? My community service.
Exactly.
Okay, so time is relevant. Go ahead.
Okay, so time is relevant. So we, and it also, remember, it says that, the previous statement that you can't circumcise, God, Allah, because there's no boundaries.
Circumvent.
Thank you. Circumvent. I'm sorry. Circumvent. Thank you. Cut that out later. But you can't circumvent Allah because time, you know, he has no boundaries.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And we can't even think of what no boundaries means or what nothing means or what everything means.
Right.
Not, you know, we can't really understand that, you know, that concept really. But all we know that it does exist.
Correct.
We understand that it does exist and things are infinite when it comes to, you know, Allah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on, the thoughts of Allah are everlasting, of the past and into the never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. Okay. Because we're talking about the thing that exists beyond what we understand existence, right? There never was a time was not, because we are a thought of Allah. So when Allah created, he created man. When was that? We don't know. We don't. When he thought, because remember we talked about earlier, thought, you know, and light. Thought speeds down to light, light speeds down to sound. And sound is what makes manifestation. And we know that from, you know, that sand experience, you know, when they put the sand on those blackboard, I forgot what it's called. And those sands, when they hit it with a certain frequency, they start making those geometric shapes.
Yeah.
And I forgot what that's called. Remember, we're talking about science as well. And these things can be proven.
Mm-hmm.
These things can be proven.
Right.
But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a what? A seed. A seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we could even think about potential as energy. You know, when we start thinking about science and potential or force, right? We start thinking about energy again. Just as the seed, I lost my place. Just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that. Where am I?
It's special plant.
Okay. Attributes of every part of that is special plant. No spirit. Hold on. Oh, where am I at? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to read this. It says no spirit man, so spirit man is seed of Allah, held deep within itself, the attributes of every part of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now seeds, and it goes on. Hold on, I'm gonna get it. Now seeds are perfect, yea, as perfect as the source from which they came, but they are not unfold into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold, as deep as the bud unfold to show the flower. So in all this is telling us with all of us, those potentials already exist within us. We ain't got to go outside of ourselves seeking nothing. It's already, everything that we need is already in us. And everything, and we hold, just like everything, you know, the good and the bad. What we consider bad, because when we start talking to people and they saying, well, there's a such thing as evil, by whose perspective? You know what I'm saying? Whose perspective? You know, everything happens for a reason, even those things that we consider evil or damaging. There is the potential for it to be good or turn into good. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
And then we even think about in the Bible where it says God is good, but we can also read that as God is God.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. All potential is already held in you, and that seed, it just depends on what you're going to nurture.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
What part of that seed are you going to nurture? Because the bad, you nurture the bad, what you're gonna have? You gonna have what's not, and we look at bad as what's not to your perfect good, your most fulfilling good. And we look at what's good as what is most beneficial for you.
Right.
Okay.
What can evolve without fault. That's what we can perceive as good. When you can evolve without stumbling, without letting life's difficulties hinder you. But when you fall to the hindering things of those, what we really should be calling God's test, when we fall, that's what we consider failure, because we can't pass each test that comes our way. So we consider ourselves failures, and then these dark thoughts begin to manifest instead of enlightenment and understanding of what the purpose of the test was in the first place. That makes sense.
All right, everything, all potentialities. We hold all potentialities within us.
Mm-hmm.
All potentialities. It depends on what we nurture, is what's gonna bloom or blossom.
Mm-hmm.
All potentialities are within us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it said the human seed that came forth. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul, and of the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soul of soul. It grew apace, and man became a what? A living soul. And he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of the soul is but the ethers of the spirit plane vibrating, not so fast. And we kind of talked about that. You okay?
Yes.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say, and in the slower rhythm of this plane, the existence of life, I manifest. And I gave that example, and I forgot what it's called.
Can you hear Faye, or is it just me?
Can you not hear me?
Are y'all there?
Yeah.
I'm here.
You hear me, Faye?
I hear you.
So she must have went blank again.
Yeah, it's for me. For some reason the sounds keep going in and out. But keep going, sis. I can hear you.
Okay, so that's what I was talking about earlier, about when they put that saying, and I forgot what, I just can't think of what it's called. But that is
gematria.
No, it's not gematria. It's when they put the sand on a plate. Is like a plate, and they start hitting it with frequencies. And the higher, the lower the frequency is, the more distorted the shape. But the higher the frequency is, the higher up the frequency goes, the more elaborate the shape becomes. And I forgot what that is called. If you can look that up real quick. And that's what that's talking about, because we talked about, thought slows down to light, slows down to sound. And sound is what actually is creating vibrating and making, because everything is vibrating on this plane. Okay, there it is right there. Yes.
So that's the same thing they do with the water. That's why you're supposed to speak to your water before you drink your water.
Right. You can program, exactly. You can program your water if you talk sweet things or kind words. And that's even with plants as well. They grow better. Right.
That's where talking to plants come in.
Right.
Okay.
Talking to plants, you can talk to the trees.
Right.
Exactly. So when they sit up there and they play with the frequency and the hertz, some hertz are harmful. That vibration is harmful to the body. You know what I'm saying?
Like 440, what they got this trap music on.
Exactly. And that's very harmful and disrupting to the body. And that's why a lot of people, when they listening to this music and people wondering why they so angry, that's why. Because of that vibration they hitting them with.
That's why I walked away from it. I couldn't understand when I used to want to be a music producer. I used to love listening to music, the soul music from the 70s and 60s that my parents used to listen to. But when it came time for me to leave high school and go out to college, and I was seeing the way hip hop, I just couldn't. I was like, what happened? Like, why is music? Why are my friends like they calling the music that they're making like, yo, this is fire. Hey, yo, this go hard. I'm like, are you deaf or like what's going on with your ears? But it was really for me, I guess, because when your soul is made on a high plane and then a slight change comes to the frequency of music, you're gonna notice it because
you're gonna notice it. But if you're vibrating already on a lower plane, it's not gonna. It's seemingly not affecting you, but it is.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's
that's where awareness come into play.
Exactly. And you have to be aware and pay attention. And it says, hark now, let every creature hear, the plane of the soul is but the ether of the spirit, plane vibrating, not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the existence of life I manifest, the perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and all the things of love manifest. Okay, and that's what we was talking about again, going back where it's talking about the fire, the water, the air, and the earth. Each one of these are planes of existence, and manifestations happen in the earth plane or Midgard. Okay, because that's everything coagulated down, creating, earth. So if people think that these things are not talking about scientific things or spiritual, and you want to separate the spiritual from science, that you cannot, because that's what it is. And we know that in just simpler terms, the science, when you look it up and look at the etymology of that word, it means to know.
Correct.
Okay, and so that's why our ancestors were able to do these incredible acts, because they understood the physiology of this plane and how it actually operated. So they knew.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They knew that they could lift objects with harmonics way back then. You see what I'm saying? They understood because they understood the science of it.
Exactly. So on point. That saying of, if you want to understand everything, if you want to understand the universe and the cosmos and the planet Earth, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Vibration, exactly.
So important to understand that and be on it every day.
Exactly. And the more you become aware of what it actually is, the more you can operate in it, manipulate it. You know what I'm saying? Just think about a person coming in the room with a nasty attitude. Or just been in a bad fight. They can change the whole energy in the room. It be off. You having a good time. Here this person come with this energy of fighting and argument in them, and it just changes the whole vibe of the room, and you can actually feel it, because we're talking about a frequency, like Kim just said.
And I remember several times, and I know you guys probably remember, if you was in a meeting and right before the meeting, everybody's sitting in there chilling and you talking and laughing, and then all of a sudden the manager come in and then it stopped.
Right.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're an asshole manager or something.
Right.
He's just carrying that frequency with him.
And everybody can see it, because you have to, it's so much, you have to deal with that person on a daily basis when you're at work. And then, one coworker got their opinion and experience with dealing with them, then another one, and then later on you get one, and then when you all see them walking into the boardroom, everybody got the same wave, on the same wavelength when they see that person, because they stick out like a sore thumb to everyone in a bad way, like a bad taste in the mouth.
Right.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get back into it.
Okay, Willa.
Yeah, my bad. I was trying to pull up that Mount St. Helens volcano eruption I had seen before, because when the eruption happened in Oregon, they say it moved so many trees down off of the mountain, but days before, the scientists that were, you know, located, what do they call those people? The mountain rangers, uh nature not the sheriff, but they forest rangers. Yeah, they have been studying in that area for over like maybe 50 years by then. This was in the 80s, I believe. Anyway, they noticed that for a week, a few days ago, before the eruption happened, a mass exodus of animals were leaving the area, and they couldn't understand why. Well, a day or so later, I should say, the volcano eruption happened. And when it happened, so many mudslides happened and trees were moved beforehand because of this eruption. And when the eruption came, it burned everything where that mudslide and those trees had happened. And all those trees end up going down into that deep lake. And to this very day, the scientists, they claim they can't figure out where this new eco life in the water came from. But when it comes to Mother Earth, this is the thing. We really are supposed to be so connected with Earth. And I explained this to Cam Wednesday when we were talking about things like this, how the universe and Allah work. And Cam, you probably remember I said something when the Earth has a mind of its own and the Earth gets ready to do what it does, it's going to create so much life in ways, and you're going to get so many new creations that you've never seen before, because that's how Mother Earth is. Mother Earth is like a seed. And I just thought about that as Faye was reading this, about the passage about man being a seed. Everything that we need is already within us. We don't have to look outside for any help because we have it equipped within us. So I thought about, as soon as Faye said that, I thought about that volcano documentary that I had seen. And immediately I thought about how those scientists were so perplexed about the new aquatic life down underneath the water, where these trees have been stuck at the bottom of this lake for so long. And it's so many new breeds of fish and other aqua marine life down there, and they can't understand it, because the key really, like we were saying, Faye, when you were saying about the fire, when earth, when what was it, water and fire meet, it creates what? Steam. Well, you need those two. Those are two elements of life that can create new life. So it just left me kind of like scratching my head with watching the documentary, because as much as they like to call themselves scientists and men of knowledge, they cannot even fathom how Allah works, even when it's right in their face.
Right, because those things already existed. The seed form, they just needed the right condition to manifest. That's it. They just needed the right condition to manifest. And when that volcano happened, the earthquake happened, it created the right condition for those things that were already there to manifest. They were already there.
Correct.
And so we have to remember that. And it says, in these souls attributes become a body beautiful. A multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarries many ages. Okay, he tarries here for many ages. And we're talking about dispensations of time, meaning death and rebirth, okay? And different dispensations of time, okay, that he tarries upon this earth until his what? His lessons are all learned.
Right.
So this is talking about reincarnation.
Right.
Upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether begun to vibrate slower, still, and then the essence took on a final garb, The perfumes and odors and the true sensation and the all of love were clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. All the ways of life. So if we think about that, we talked about the kingdoms. We talked about the fungi kingdom. We talked about the mineral kingdom. We talked about the plant kingdom, and then we talked about the animal kingdom, right? And it says that man must pass through. Perfect man must pass through all ways of life. And so and I'm gonna let everybody come to their own conclusion of that, but I gave you a hint.
Right.
and so carnal was full manifest, a nature that sprung forth from fleshly things without a foe. And I need y'all to listen to this very carefully. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so,
hold on, repeat that one more time before I repeat.
Okay, let me try to make this screen bigger. I'm having a little.
That's awesome because that exact sentence I have highlighted.
Well, the one I said, y'all pay very close attention to this.
Yeah. that one. Just read it. Repeat that for us.
Okay, let me go back. It says, and so a carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah may manifest. Okay, so what this is basically talking, let's go back to soldier. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so this carnal nature soon becomes a foe that man must fight. So what is that talking about? It's not the fight outside, that's the fight inside.
Right.
The lower nature and the higher nature doing battle with each other for supremacy.
Mastering yourself.
Mastering yourself.
The first of tests in life. And
people, so it's also that shadow.
That's the same. Yes.
Yes. It's that shadow that will pass away.
It is.
Hey, brother.
It will.
Greetings, everybody. How y'all doing?
Greetings.
Welcome.
All right. Greetings, Cam. Greetings, Faye. Greetings, Wilhelmina.
Greetings, brother. Greetings. Glad to have you with us. Welcome.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And so the carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest. A protoplasm, a mineral, of plant, of beast. And we talked about those planes, right? Yeah. But he gave up his birthright just to glorify his lower self. Ain't that some stuff?
I said that in Lovecraft Country, they were talking about Adam, the language of Adam. They kept reiterating this very thing right here throughout the show. It was all about Adam and learning the language that Adam spoke, because whatever Adam did, was basically law, because it just says it right here. Man, what is this? Where it is? Man is the Lord of all plain. No, let me back up. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man, meaning Adam, is the Lord of all the plane of manifest. So everything that Allah manifested before making Adam the Lord of it is already there. So by the time Allah puts Adam in what we call Eden, or what we understand Eden to be, it's all there. That's what they're telling us in Genesis. And right here, right? Adam is the Lord of the plane, manifest of protoplasm, minerals, of plants. What else?
Of beasts.
And of beasts. But he gave up his birthrights just to gratify
his lower self.
Gratify his lower self.
Awesome. And they're talking about not just Adam, atom.
Atom, right.
Yes.
So we're going back, like we talked about earlier, we're going back to that hydrogen. What began all life, the hydrogen atom. We talked about that, and we talked about the four worlds as well. And then and it also shows up in the four kingdoms.
Right.
Okay.
And you also have to understand it's woman too. Man,
right. Well, we're talking about man as a species.
Yeah, exactly.
It as a species.
But a lot of people will just take that, and they hear the word man, they just think it's just man, but not understanding woman and man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, talking about great. That's why I say it goes back to atom.
Right.
Those atoms.
In evolution.
The female and the male perspective of the atom.
Right. In creation.
Awesome. I made an awesome post on that on my page about those atoms. About the atom, rather.
Right.
Right. And we know the first building block is the hydrogen atom. You know, that's number one.
Yeah.
Okay. So we and like Kim said, we have to look at this through a scientific lens.
Right.
You know, it's not just talking about, some spookism.
No, this is science.
This is science.
It's science. It's information. It's knowledge.
Right.
Knowledge of the Quran, knowledge of the Circle 7.
This video I'm showing,
Temple of America, Moors knowledge.
Right,
man.
Which is But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. We're talking about that conflict, that inner battle that we have to wage war against the self, the lower nature, or like David just referred to it as the shadow self.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Yea, he must suffer trials and tribulations, manyfold. I mean, you're going to have many folds of trials and tribulation, because that dust, the DOS, however you say it, I think it's DOSS, I'm from the country, but that got to be shaken off. Just like when you refine in silver, to get it to its purest form, there's some impurities in there. They got to be, you got to use fire to get those impurities out of that silver so it can be pure. Or gold or whatever metal, you have to refine it. You know what I'm saying? And remove the impurities off of it. And it's got to go through that fire. And that's the thing. Those are those trials and tribulations.
Right.
And that's the same thing. Alchemy. I was just going to say that. Thank you, Kim. That's the same thing alchemy teaches you, through those experiments. But this is talking about the inner workings of man. You know what I'm saying? Which is an inward thing.
So this is spiritual alchemy.
Spiritual alchemy.
Awesome. I got all this shit right here you reading right now. Well, I don't mean shit, but I got all of this highlighted.
That's what we said. We got to watch this. We got to slow down and really, you know, digest what this is telling us. Mm-hmm. You know, we are many-faceted person. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like the old things have to pass away, our old behaviors, and all things become new. We have to get rid of those old ways. Well, some people call them ganky. You know, there's no, when we're refining ourselves to become a noble, then we have to stand on those 5 principles of truth, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's what we have to operate in. And as we operate in these higher principles, these are higher principles. What are some of the lower principles? Lying, stealing, gossiping, backbiting, false witnessing, slander, lewdness. These are the things that we're supposed to be warned within our covetousness. All these things that we're supposed to be warned within ourselves, and removing those things that are not pleasing within the eyes of God. And can you pull up? There's 7 things that God hates, and it's going to tell you. Willa, it's I think it's in it might be in Proverbs, but I can't remember which passage is in. Just put 7 things that God hates, or 16 that God hates, and then it said name 7. What is that? Is it Proverbs?
Yeah, Proverbs 6, verse 16 through 19, and it says, here are 6 things God hates, and 1 more that he loathes with a passion.
Go on, read it.
Eyes that are arrogant, a tongue that lies, hands that murder the innocent, a heart that hatches evil plots, feet that race down a wicked track, a mouth that lies under oath, a troublemaker in the family.
Go on in now. So if you want to know some of the things that you need to be working on, or some of the shadow things that you need to be paying attention to, you can just go on right there. Right. And it'll tell you some of the things that you know you gotta remove from self. And these are the things that God hates. You know, the higher nature hates these things, and we lower our vibration when we participate in this type of behavior.
And these are all the behaviors of the colonizer.
Right. Everything.
Our lower self.
Right. And it's just a reflection, and it shows you just, so we can't say we didn't know what they were. We seen them. You know, a maxim of law is don't be, you know, like the person who harm you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said do unto others as you have them do unto you. Treat people like you want to be treated. Don't go out there doing something to somebody else that you don't want done to yourself. These are spiritual things. They have nothing to do with just the Bible. These are in all the holy books. I don't care which one you read. It's going to state these things.
That's right, because it comes from the original text. It comes from the original teaching.
Right. It doesn't matter what they do. It's what are we going to do? What are you going to do?
Okay. So we know it says, yea, must suffer trials and tribulations, manifold, but let him know that the cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the solar stars are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Man will be fully served, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffered on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose well, and it will fall, will be no more. So basically what this is telling us, when we done learned all our lessons and we done got rid of all of those impurities, we no longer have to incarnate.
Right.
We no longer have to incarnate. But how do we know what's good and bad? We descended to understand those things. What is good and what is bad?
Right.
This is a school. Earth is a school. Midgard is a school that we came to learn on. So we'll know what is beneficial. And those things that are beneficial, we keep, and those things that are not, we discard.
That's right, because they don't serve a higher purpose.
Beautiful.
Because none of those things serve our higher purpose. None of that.
None of them.
Right.
And that's the point that I'm trying to get to my children, so they can get that early and then start enjoying life.
Right. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. It was I'm glad you read that passage, sis, because a seer, I saw a past video of a seer and where he was explaining a passage from the Bible that happened. I believe it happened to David. He was wearing all white in the story, and they killed him. They told him to take off his tarbouche, his fez, or either it was his headdress, and he refused to take it off. He said no. So they stabbed him and killed him.
Who?
When it was some, I believe it was it David in the Bible? But a seer was explaining this in one of his videos about this. He said when they stabbed him and killed him, he died, and he had on all white. But because he was so right with Allah, he was no more. He had vanished. When they went to go back and get the body, it was gone, because it was so so in a when your soul is so already so pure and what we call discipline with Allah, with the Lord, that when they go back to reclaim his body, his family, that is, he was not there at all. Only thing that was left was the headdress, and I believe the clothes that his blood had been soaked in after they killed him. They stabbed him to death.
Well, I don't know. Only David I know in the Bible is King David, and I've never read the Quran, but I don't ever remember that. I'm just saying.
I may have gotten the name wrong on one of them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I apologize if I got the name wrong, but the story itself is what stuck. But if
that's what's important.
If I got the name wrong, anybody, I apologize. Charge it to my head, not my heart. But the moral of the story, I just wanted to say that to go along with Sister Faye's build on that, because it was so prominent to me and stuck out to me. Okay. But yeah. Okay, so far we've read most of this. Is from chapter 1. Faye, do you want to take a rest or would you like one of us to continue your plays? Going on?
Yeah, I'll take a rest. I yield.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I read first. I almost called you. I almost said the wrong. Cam, would you like to take over, or are you still on the road? Are you still driving?
No, I never was driving.
Oh, you weren't? Okay. I don't know why I thought you were in a car when you first got on. Okay. All right. You want to take over for us, and then after you?
Yeah, I can read, but I may not be able to do a translation of what I read unless Spirit, me to give me some understanding. But yeah, there's two small chapters left in this first chapter. I'll read.
Okay. All right.
If you don't mind, I'm just gonna go back over that same. I'm just gonna read that same paragraph that I had pre-highlighted and just read it again.
Go ahead.
But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yea, he must suffer trials and temptations manifold, but let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the solar stars are his protectors and his guides, and they will lead to victory. Man will fully save, redeem, perfected by the things that he suffers on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose well, and it will be no more. Then he will stand untrammeled on the plane of soul, where he must complete his victory. Unnumbered foes will stand before man upon the plane of soul. These he must overcome. Yea, overcome them, everyone. Thus hope will ever be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. When man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, the seed will have full opened out, will have unfolded in the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore, and it will pass and be no more, and man will then attain unto the blessedness and perfectedness and at one with Allah. So when you perfect this life, when you perfect yourself, when you have self-mastered yourself, you have no reason to have to come back here again. And you go back to being light, being back on the physical plane of the Creator.
Indeed. Indeed.
And that's so beautiful.
Well, isn't it?
That's so beautiful.
Really is.
So
I mean, as I'm reading these words, I could understand what it is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because me personally, I've gone through all those trials. And, I'm still going through them, but a lot of that business I've gone through. I've gone through the fire. I've done the shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
I've been crushed in that heat that was unbearable until I thought I wasn't going to make it, and I came out.
Right.
With much more to learn. So chapter 2, education of Mary and Elizabeth in Zone, Egypt. The son of Herod, Archelaus. Huh?
I would say Archelaus, yes.
Right. The son of Herod, Archelaus, reigned in Jerusalem. He was a selfish, cruel king. He put to death all of those who did not honor him. He called in council all the wisest men and asked the infant claimant of his throne. So it looked like he's speaking to Isa here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The council said that John and Jesus both were dead. Then he was satisfied. Now Joseph, Mary, and their son were in Egypt, in Zone, and John was with his mother in the Judean hills. Elihu and Salome sent messengers in haste to find Elizabeth and John. They brought them to Zone. So I know how I like to study, y'all, and I know we're doing this stuff over the internet and everything, but I always got my dictionaries, a couple of them, in front of me with the Bible, have etymology.com or whatever pulled up, because we would want to know, where is Zone? Where is that spot at?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then we could picture that in our minds where they actually talking about. I'm sure it's what these people are calling the Middle East, but it's in that area right there.
Well, we want to also remember that we're talking about the first chapter set us up for this alchemical interpretation.
Right.
And so when we're looking at these words, and like you said, this is where additional study come in. Let's look at them as archetypes and functions. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, I'm gonna put it like that. At the same time, Because remember, it already gave us a setup in chapter 1 about this inward battle that we have to fight. And we have many foes and that enemies. And it starts out with our first enemy is Herod, right?
Right.
Okay, so when we're reading this, and this is where study come in, because men are not by being told, right? So as we're studying this, we already got some clues of what is going on in these preceding chapters.
Right.
And I'm gonna put it like that.
Right. Now Mary and Elizabeth were marveling much because of their deliverance. Elihu said, "It is not strange. There are no happenings. Law governs all events. From olden times, it was ordained that you should be with us and in this sacred school be taught." Elihu and Salome took Mary and Elizabeth out to the sacred grove nearby where they were wont to teach. Elihu said to Mary and Elizabeth, "You may esteem yourselves thrice blessed, for you are chosen mothers of long-promised sons, who are ordained to lay a solid rock, a sure foundation stone on which the temple of the perfect man shall rest, a temple that shall never be destroyed. We measure time by cycle ages, and the gate, every age we deem a milestone in the journey of the race. An age had passed, the gate unto another age flies open. At the age touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of Allah in man." And I got this pre-highlighted, so let's see. "And these your sons will be the first to tell the news and teach the gospels of good will to men and peace on earth. A mighty work is theirs, for carnal men want not the light. They love the dark, and when the light shines in the dark, they comprehend it not. We call these sons revealers of light, but they must have the light before they can receive the light. And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of the missions to the sons of men." It's deep.
It's very, very, very deep. And I just like to point out about when the first chapter was talking about that seed. And these women, and I'm using quotation marks, was, impregnated with the seeds. And I'm gonna leave it there.
Right.
I was ready to go with. I'm like, I'm with her. Where's she going with this?
He went, "Teach them that Allah and man are one, but that through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from Allah, debased himself. Teach that the holy breath would make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. That not can't make them one but love. That Allah so loved the world that he has clothed his son in flesh that man can comprehend." I see a lot of similarities to verses in the Bible when I'm reading some of this.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like they took from this or whatever.
Yeah. And
the only savior of the world is love, and Jesus, son of Mary, comes to manifest that love to men. Now, love cannot be manifest until its way has been prepared, and naught can rend the rock and bring down lofty hills and fill the valleys up, and thus prepare the way, but purity in life men do not comprehend, and so it too must come in flesh. And you, Elizabeth, are blessed because yours is purity made flesh, and he shall pave the way for love. This age will comprehend but little of the words of purity and love. But not a word is lost. For in the book of Allah's remembrance, a registry is made of every thought and word and deed. Okay, record.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely.
And when the world is ready to receive, lo, Allah will send a messenger to open the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. Then every man of earth will read the words of light in language of his native land. And men will see the light and walk in the light and be the light. And man again will be at one with Allah. Wow.
Amen. Amen. So this just, for me, I'll say what it's registering with me, because the last few couple of days before today, it was strange, y'all. It was strange for me yesterday. I had a very strange day yesterday. I really did, y'all. I just kept feeling, I hadn't spoken to really anybody, but for some reason, it felt like spiritually on a level, I was experiencing a lot of different spirits within me. Well, not within me, but like energies that just, I kept feeling like something was over me, like a cloud, and I couldn't understand it at all. I was just here at home, like I am right now, you know, preparing for tomorrow night, which is right now, of course, just getting everything prepared, you know, ready for tonight's study night. And all day yesterday, it felt like just negativity was just, I don't know if it was just me being in the room all day, just concentrating on doing things. But when it came time for me to go to bed last night, I had a hard time doing that. And I couldn't understand why. And what I remember is just these feeling of these negativity feelings just coming, you know, toward me. And I couldn't understand it. And then before I went to bed, it hit me. It hits me all the time lately. I remember what Sister Faye always tells me. She always asks me, how bad do you really want it? And it being, of course, the work that I'm doing, what I consider the work of Allah, doing now, you know, bringing together as many Moors, my brothers and sisters together, getting us back right and back on this path of righteousness, because the time is coming where we can all see it, you know, what's happening. And what's happening now is our recharging moment to get us all back together for preparing ourselves for the battle, the big war that's coming with the enemy that we have. And I always remember what she says.
So you said you was feeling that negative energy because,
yeah, it's like I'm doing something now with a purpose, but for some reason I couldn't shake it. And I remember hearing people talk about how with Bobby Hemmett, the reason that Bobby Hemmett stepped away, because so many people were actually sending him spirits to hinder him. And that's why we no longer see Bobby Hemmett as much as we used to, you know, because people were so very evil and sending him spirits his way, you know, of evil, like voodoo and things like that toward him, you know, that it made him, you know, come to the point that he is now. So I thought about that, and I was like, could it be that little old me, I know I'm no big player in the game, as what they call a game. I'm no big person yet, but could it be that what I'm feeling is actually getting my first dose of that? If that makes sense to y'all. Like the negative feelings, could it be by chance that what I'm experiencing and feeling right now is actually, you know, these disharmonies coming my way, you know, it's bad energy coming my way just to hinder me and make me want to give up and no longer do this?
I mean, that could have been a few things, Willa. I mean, you just have to, as we're living, we have to always now make sure that we're paying attention to ourselves and our surroundings, our thoughts, I mean, you could have been thinking about something and just, created a negative thought that way, and it's happening like that. So you just gotta don't say it's one thing specifically and make it that thing.
Right, right.
Just go back and try to remember. What was I thinking about? What was the information I was actually working on? And you could have just, a negative thought could have just came to your mind, and just, as it's continuously happening to you, it's your thoughts that you got to, manage and keep control of, because your thoughts can carry your way and carry an actual manifest tribulation to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just talked about that as we were reading chapter 1. The thoughts are things,
Right.
And they become manifested if you focus on them. You keep,
correct. You give them power.
Thing,
right.
Yeah.
If it's a negative thing, then you just erase it off. But if it was some kind of light, if it was some kind of information, if it was a good feeling of a high frequency, move on that. But always, if it's disturbing thought, if it's a disturbing thought, then eradicate it. Go look at your baby, go kiss your baby, or think about when you was kissing your baby, or you get my example?
Right.
Yeah, just think eradicate that, and you'll stop going through that.
Right. Think about your happiness, what makes you happy, and what brings joy to your heart. Think about those.
If you haven't, I got stuff wrote down that I memorized, but if you can't think of anything, just think of the word gratitude, and then it's gonna automatically stuff gonna come and get you off of that.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
And also know that you have the power to reverse those thoughts, and negative energies into something positive, like Cam and Faye are saying.
Yeah.
It's all about mastering yourself, knowing thyself, mastering thyself, and when you see yourself entertaining those thoughts, ask yourself why, and just reverse it.
Exactly. That's the exact thing to do.
Right. Yeah.
That's the exact thing to do.
Because go ahead, Cam.
No, I'm constantly agreeing with you, cutting you out. Go ahead, man.
No, just saying, because by you entertaining it, you'll keep building on something that isn't necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a battle that's within you, or you seeing yourself or something.
Right.
But it don't necessarily mean that it's true. It just means it could be a possibility. But if you keep entertaining that possibility, you're gonna make it grow, and then
you're gonna make it manifest.
Yeah, you'll make it manifest.
Right.
Because we have to also remember that. Remember, even in Islam, if you remember, Willa, the jinn are living in the world on their own. They live in another dimension. They could be right there by you, but they're in another dimension. They can see us, but we can't see them. So these they're called negative thought entities, and they actually know who we are, what we like, what we dislike, and that's what they work on. So just like the brother was saying, you could just reverse it. Like, why am I thinking about this? Is this righteous, or is this a higher energy? And they're gonna go away anyway. They're just gonna go away.
Yeah, like I said, they need your permission to get in. You know what I'm saying? So if you're entertaining it, you're giving it permission to program your mind, or to make you start doubting yourself, or having fear, or whatever it's doing. So as long as you don't give it permission, as long as you know that you're fighting it, and know that you're battling it, but not giving it permission to be there, knowing it's something you got to deal with, that's where it loses its power. And like I said, like you guys were reading about the thoughts of Allah, and it says man is a thought of Allah. So if we understand that, and understand that the power with that, and understanding that's a part of our divinity, and us returning back to our higher self, higher nature, and being lords of the earth, or whatever, and like I said, in being a lord of the earth, that don't mean you're out here trying to destroy everything. It's like you're at one with it. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you have
Exactly.
control over it. You know, you have control over things. So, like you said, the protoplasm and all that stuff, when he said stand still in here, he was letting everybody know man's estate. You know, like how powerful we are. You know, so we have to remember, like with the labels, black, Negro, color, all that stuff. That is way beneath who we are. You know,
and it's a deadly program.
And so that's the first thing, that devil that's within. You have to check it. You have to check it. Sometimes it's hard to check it. You know, but like Cam was saying, you might be dealing with some stuff or going through some things or whatever, or facing some things. But you know what I'm saying, when you study yourself again, I would study yourself. You know, so it's always you learning yourself. And at the end of the Koran Circle 7, what does it say? It's the end of time and the fulfillment of the prophecies. You know, so right now, by us being in this physical form and flesh or whatever, we're sort of concerned with time. You know, like, okay, there's a time for man to die, there's a time for man to live, and, you know, live and die and all this other stuff. But by us knowing that we're not the body, but the spirit and the thought of Allah, and like I said, time never was when man was not. You know, we have to understand that's a part of our birthright, our divinity. Right. You know, of being on this plane. You know, and a lot of people trying to take us from it. You know, keep us from that. So we have that power to reverse negative thoughts, negative ideas, not entertain certain things, and understand that we're not victims. You know, we're conquerors. You know, we're navigators. Correct. And we're navigating not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. So it's always going to be that battle. Not necessarily saying it's always going to be that battle, but like I said, without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. So if it's strengthening you and bettering you, you may not necessarily like that you're going through it, or we may not necessarily like some things that we're battling or going through. But when we look back and say, like, okay, now I understand why I went through that, you can appreciate it, you know. So we just have to appreciate that which is making us stronger, you know. And you know, not everybody that's a European is bad or whatever, or all so-called Moors are good. We still have to understand that as well. So we got enemies within the temple, you know what I'm saying? We got friends within different races or whatever that's trying to help wake us up and all that stuff, you know, other things. So, you know, so just don't entertain it, Willa. You know, don't entertain all the those thoughts.
Right.
You know, cause if you get within yourself and you start entertaining that stuff, it can drive you crazy. Right. You know, and make you think, you know, you're a victim, or, you know, you're not worth nothing or whatever.
Yeah, it goes all kinds of ways. That's why it's so detrimental. It goes all kinds of ways because it brings all kinds of negative emotions towards you, whether it be anxiety, stress, worry. You know, this would make, like you said, people go crazy, kill themselves, and all these type of things. But I just wanted to, I know I'm an old movie buff. Don't y'all remember, if you remember, the old Bela Lugosi movies? This vampire, this energy sucker, this thought killer. He never could get to anyone's home until he asked or is invited in. Y'all remember?
Right. Even the police do that.
Yeah, just speaking on like what I said about inviting it, about entertaining it, about rebuking it.
Exactly. Right. It's like you don't argue with Satan.
No.
That's from Pastor Arnold Murray on Shepherd's Chapel. He say that, you know, I would listen to that on YouTube where he say, don't argue with Satan. You know, because if you start arguing with them, especially being in this flesh, you can easily get convinced that, you know, I am weak. I am a, you know, a Negro. I am whatever, you know, and you know, so because like I said, even Satan knows the Bible and it knows certain words, you know, the word and all that stuff, and that's how he's able to influence a lot of people, you know. So
yeah, it was just strange. It was just strange because y'all know how I am already. Y'all know. So for me, when I was feeling like it, even to me, it was like, what the hell is happening? It was like as hell, because I recognized so much, you know, how negativity and those type of energies work. So it was like not having me like feeling like, oh, all of a sudden now I feel depressed, or now I feel like suicidal, or I feel I'm down. It was more so of a shock to the system, because it was like, where the hell where's this coming from type of thing. But thankfully, you know, having Allah in my life and on my side, and having, you know, that positivity with you guys is there, that the tribe, I knew that I really knew that I was all right. But it was more so just a shock to the system, because it was like, well, what the hell? Where did y'all come from? Type of thing. But thankfully, it did not last long at all. But it did go away. But just, you know, just to remember that experience and then processing it, it was a shock to the system. But I'm glad that we're reading the Quran tonight, because it's put a lot of it into perspective for me. So.
I want to reiterate something too. We're going to see, I'm reiterating what I spoke on before about 2021. We're going to see more of this shit being manifested in the world. People are going to be going more crazy, more unrest and more chaos. You know, more zombie-like actions are going to be happening out here, because these people are not going to be able to accept these energies.
Correct. Right.
And you see it. We see it right now, to where people are starting to they are basically running tests to see how people are gonna respond and react. And you know, even with this COVID-19, believing everything they see and hear on this TV, not turning off this TV, and just believing everything that's being programmed now. Guess what? It's been programmed to go ahead and get this vaccine and all this other stuff.
What they just did to them people down there in Texas.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, exactly.
And even
so,
and nothing more than a stronger test than what those people are going through right now at this time. And if their mind is not together, if you're not spiritually connected, you're gonna lose it.
Right.
I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
No, you're good. But that's a part of us not understanding our own divinity and our own, how we supposed to use our mind for ourselves, and not necessarily believe everything that these people out here trying to put out here. You know,
try to keep that phone close to your mouth, bro, while you move.
Okay, guys, hold on one second. My bad. Hold on 1 second. Now, y'all go ahead. I'm just lighting the incense, but go ahead.
Oh yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, it's like basically they're just seeing how easily people are being programmed. They can send a thought out there and say, the Wuhan virus came from China, but it's gonna automatically hit black folks. It's gonna, you know, it's affecting black folks the most of all this other stuff. And so they send that thought out there, pump that junk on TV, constantly pumping that information. So guess what? Next thing you know, black folks are the #1 people with it and all this other stuff, and need to take the vaccine and the virus. I mean, you know, the vaccine and all this other stuff.
Yeah, because Duke's pushing that agenda right now, bro. I didn't mean to cut you out. He pushing that agenda right now. What you spoke on about they're starting a campaign now talking about how melanated people are not getting vaccines, blah blah blah. He just started that shit now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not
All
right.
And they just know how easily it is to program people. And that's one of the things you can't allow yourself to get caught up in, is family, friends, everybody. You have to just be aware
at this point in time.
Yeah, be aware of how they've been programmed as well.
Well, speaking of that, oh my bad, Cam. You have go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's so awesome to see this shit manifesting like this. And it's so fucking clear in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not only are those people going through all that shit that they're going through, when they finally see a little leeway, then they tell them, well, there's a boiling water policy, and you got to boil your water now.
Right.
They got us going through that here. Do they have y'all over in Arkansas going through that? Because we going through that here. We got to boil our water now.
They haven't told us in Arkansas, I don't think. Faye, have you heard anything?
No,
I've been drinking
haven't.
bottled water, so I know when I went to.
Yeah, I drink bottled water as well, but I haven't heard. You know, I don't watch the news, but nobody that I'm associated with has, you know, text or call and said that.
Mm-hmm.
They got it going on here.
I noticed the water has been murky throughout with the faucets. That has happened, and even here, we left when the snow first started coming down. We left the faucets on a little bit where it could drip so that the pipes wouldn't freeze up. We did that, and even still with doing that, Cam, the water still got murky.
Yeah, well,
and
look, you need to, since you said that, you need to go ahead and go to your supply company's website and see what they got on there, if anything. But if you saw it yourself, then you need to keep watching your water. You know, you need to be filling up some clear glass, hold it up to the light, or go get you some testing kits and test your water, because you don't know what's going on. Hell, the demon that's running your state may be different from the demon that's running another state, and they might not tell you the water fucked up.
Right. What I've noticed with the ice out of our refrigerator, this is why I get my ice from Sonic a lot of times, because the ice in our refrigerator, even I've noticed when I put it in my glass here, I'll be drinking and then I'll look up 20 minutes or 30 minutes later, and it's little white dots of stuff floating in my water, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And
so your water supply from your refrigerator is connected to the water supply. I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to go ahead and check on that, because something could be wrong with your water over there that you're seeing all this.
Yeah, and it wasn't always like that. The ice wasn't always like that until we got this snow this week, and I kept looking. I was like, oh no, something is definitely up.
Yeah, so go to Walmart and get you some testing strips and test your water.
But see the first thing also you have to do when you drinking the water, say a prayer over your water. You know what I'm saying? You place, you know, like I said, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So if they trying to put some kind of poison and whatever in the water or whatever in the chemtrails and all this other stuff that they're trying to do, guess what? If you truly believe and know that no weapon formed against you shall prosper,
right?
No weapon, nothing can harm you, period. But you also have to, that's a part of us understanding our divinity and our birthright here to be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And being mastered and not succumbing to all the different thought suggestions that people are putting out here. Like I said, with your family and friends, everybody can be out here thinking certain things or whatever, and thinking it's going to affect you, but it's not going to affect you if you're thinking on a different vibe, a different rate. You know, but like I said, when you're drinking that water, like I said, place a wall of white light around it. You know, you ain't even got to say it. You don't necessarily have to say it, but you can just think it. You know, of healing properties, and it'll reverse all. That's a part of reversing all that negative stuff as well. Understanding we are masterminds. You know, and that's a part of being a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Mastering all this stuff, you know, to where whatever they try to put out here, Bill Gates or whoever, or Dr. Fauci, all that bullshit, reversing all that shit. You know, but the people that go out here get the vaccine and all this other stuff, that just show you where their mind is and how they've been programmed. And guess what? You can't allow yourself to be programmed like that, no matter who it is. Right. No matter who you know, it could be your mama, your daddy, they could be convince you to do certain things, but guess what? Don't allow them to convince you to do that stuff. And that stuff is that whole getting the vaccine and getting the shots and all that stuff is in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You know, part of that vaccine is part of it's like a Revelation where they give you that shot that represents the scorpion, and it like paralyzes you and all this other stuff. So we're seeing that stuff. So we have to understand a lot of people don't know certain things because they just like when they go to church, all they do is hear a pastor saying the same verses over and over and over, and not going through that Bible chapter by chapter, verse by verse. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are being misled, and we just can't allow ourselves to be misled. And we have to understand, the women have to understand their greatness, men have to understand our greatness, and understand no matter what they're trying to put out here, we can conquer it. We can conquer it, you know. All right.
Ashe.
Ashe. Well, David, since you're speaking into life for us, do you mind taking us into chapter 3, the unity of life?
Could you let me piggyback on that and tell you something real quick?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna show you how I be up in this career, up in my joint, manifesting. So just what the brother said a while ago. So they put us on the whole city on the mandatory boil your water thing. Now it started because of certain pipes started busting and creating havoc on apartment complexes, people's homes in different parts of the city. And their water temperature was real low. It was barely coming out. So they put this policy into effect. Now over here in my part of town, we didn't see a problem with the water. I haven't seen anything, no loss in pressure or anything. So of course we still gonna try to follow this thing and be careful about the water, you know, not let it get in my eyes or get in any kind of orifice or drink it or whatever. They said it was okay to bathe in it, but I'm not even bathing in it right now. So anyway, I told my son just today, I said, you know what I've been thinking about, y'all? I told y'all when I went up to that thing, up to the attic, and I had adjusted the volume on the hot water heat, I made that water very hot. I made it come out hot. It'd be on just 50 seconds. It's hot. So I said, the way I'm looking at it, I'm not going to let that have to affect us and make us more uncomfortable than we already are. Our water is heating up and killing them germs and killing that bacteria in that water. And then we still might heat it up anyway when we're using it for certain things like brushing our teeth, and it's not even going to affect us up in this crib.
Right.
Just to piggyback on what that brother said.
Right. Because what the news is there to do is just to enforce fear into you. So they're gonna, if the whole point of television is to captivate your mind, and once
that's why they call it program.
Right. Once they know that they have your mind, these news anchors, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give you an example of how I use my magic, how I use alchemy, how I use my thoughts to control and to make manifest reality. Go ahead, bro.
Appreciate that, brother Cam. Appreciate that so much from you.
Yeah, you're right. And even when they showing, you know, like weather patterns and all this other stuff, so you're gonna get this and you're gonna get that. Gotta reverse a lot of that stuff too. You know what I'm saying? How they can be sending that energy out there to try to destroy, people and cause all this stuff to happen to where, you know, whatever sinister plans they got, reversing all that stuff. But we had to understand, we had to hit them on the spiritual plane first, the plane of thought. You know, and a lot of those battles can be defeated then and there, you know.
There you go. There you go.
Indeed.
But you say you want me to go ahead and get started on chapter 3?
Yeah, take us into that if you don't mind, for us, since you've been so vocal on speaking the power of life to us tonight. That would be a great chapter, I think, if you could give us your spirit and your wisdom on this. this chapter 3. So if you don't mind, just take us there before we close out tonight.
Okay. Chapter 3, Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. Again, Elihu met his people in the sacred grove and said, "No man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by the cords to every other living thing. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. They will not do to other men what they would not have other men do unto them. There are two selves, the higher and lower self. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of the higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah in man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. So that's why falsehood is manifesting, because it's truth being reversed. You know, the lies and all this other stuff.
Right.
The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, and you will have studied them. And then would ask me what to study next, I would reply, yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. Let me read that again. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his very own. He has been ransomed from the perils of the lower self and is himself his higher self. And this is where 17, 18, this is where we get to people who do sacrifices with, like blood sacrifice and all this other stuff, trying to have family members killed or whatever, in order to gain success or whatever, to satisfy some fake or false god. Says, men seek salvation from an evil that deems a living monster of the netherworld. And they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy and hate and lust, whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice of fruits and of the lives of birds and animals and humankind. I'm turning the page right on.
Try to keep your mouth as close as you can to the microphone, bro.
Okay, gotcha.
Other than that,
19. Okay. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear, no eyes to see, no heart to sympathize, no power to save. This evil is a myth. These gods are made of air and clothed with the shadow of a thought. The only devil from which man must be redeemed is self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within. His name is self.
Wow.
If man would find his savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the savior love will be exalted to the throne of power. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks the savior love upon the throne. And then I had put like the throne of power. So it's like it said on the back of the Koran, Circle 7. It says, "No, the Holy Koran of the Moors Temple of America, know thyself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree." So that's what we have to come to understanding that battle that's within ourselves. That say you ain't shit, you ain't this, and you ain't that, and the stuff that we've been programmed to believe or whatever. It's easy to believe a negative thought than a positive thought. Not, or you might dwell on a negative thought more than you will somebody give you a look, hey, you're beautiful. Then somebody say you ain't shit. You be like, damn, why they say I ain't shit? You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So as an example, so that's the thing we have to deal with, that mastering our
lower self.
feeling lower self. And it's all a part, like you all was saying, it's all a part of us, our heritage. Well, go ahead. With that, I say, I yield the floor, but go ahead.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for that, because man, you went in even before you started on the chapter. So I just feel it was only right we have you in on the third chapter, because we said we're gonna do the first three chapters of the Circle 7 Quran. So it was just divine time, and you can tell when Allah is really with you, because he sent in our Grand Sheik with us tonight, brother Dawood, as we say here on the Drop Squad. So thank you for that, David, because you took it home for us tonight. So thank you again, blessing us with your presence.
Thank you, and thank you guys for the readings that you all read as well.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you. So glad to have you back. But yeah, so our Drop Squad family, we got 15 minutes, but still, it was a great show tonight. This is the formula that I can get 100% behind, because it's all about learning and getting back to the essence of our life. So I love this, and thank you to Brother Cam, Sister Faye, Sister Dawn, all of y'all for helping me, see that there's power in going back to the essence of things, the simplicity of things. And for Moors, what that simplicity is for Moors is the Circle 7 Quran. That's home to us. So thank y'all for being able to bring my attention back to what matters into this life, that I'm trying to help facilitate for all of us together to get back into. Thank y'all for being my eyes, my ears, and just sticking with me, having faith in me and belief in me to get this done, and just it being a success tonight. Thank y'all. It's like, it's not about me at all. This is
We
about
sticking with each other, man.
Yes,
We done found each other. I came in and joined the family, and we're just moving on.
Yes,
We're moving on.
together. Yes, your
That was
vibe.
a beautiful build tonight. I really appreciate you guys, because you could have been doing something else, watching a video game or some shit like that, or playing a video game or whatever. But this work right here is vital, it's needed,
Yes,
and it's got to be done.
yes. Thank you so much for that, because I definitely feel the more that I come to this, we come together on this show. Y'all just don't know. The more I feel better, and I feel recharged every single time, and it's a blessing when you get that feeling. But like Cam, you said before, your vibe will help you find your tribe, and that's indeed what the Drop Squad has been able to do, not just for myself, but hopefully for all of y'all. So I thank y'all. Once again, I thank y'all.
And also, can I piggyback real quick?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Just wanted to say real quick, we have to understand, like, the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple, it says, it doesn't say written by Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
It says divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. You know, so just like you saying, reading Brother Cam in chapter 2, like verse 25, where it says, this age will comprehend but little of the works of purity and love, but not a word is lost. For in the book of Allah's remembrance, a registry is made of every thought and word and deed. And when the world is ready to receive, lo, Allah will send a messenger to open the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. So that's why we receive prophets, and at certain times, and that's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to us to help uplift us. You know what I'm saying? At this particular time and day and age, because it's like we need it.
Right.
So because we are at the preparation age of soul, and like I said, like I said, at the end of the last chapter, it says the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecy. So when it says time never was when man was, when it says time never was when man was not, we have to understand that we have always been here. May not necessarily always been in the physical flesh or whatever, but we have always been here, but we are not the body. We are spirit of Allah.
Right. Right. What you're speaking on is that seed is within us. And in some of us, we just haven't completely opening that seed, like as it spoke on in the second chapter about how it blossomed and it opened up. And that's what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm thankful to be ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's all what my social media platforms are about. Trying to spark that flame and germinate that seed within the ones who are seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, that's beautiful.
Thank you for what you do for
and we have to really truly understand, like you said, about not allowing those negative thoughts and ideas to get into our heads, because it's easy to from just by, like I said, just by going outside, and you may not even have your TV on, all this other stuff, but you seeing all these people wearing masks and everything, whatever.
Right. It's that frequency that you're walking through.
Mm-hmm. And you have to understand that you can't allow that stuff to attach to you.
Wow.
You have to walk through it. You have to walk through it. Walk through it and be beyond it. Divinely protected on all levels.
With a strong, protected aura.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's why you do that chakra work. That's why you do that energy work. Because when you go out there, you want that aura that can could project itself several feet in front of you. You want it protected so they can just bounce off you like water do off a duck's back.
Right. Absolutely. I remember.
Appreciate y'all. I sure appreciate y'all, because I'm here by myself. Nobody here. Nothing here. Nothing going on here. So I appreciate y'all, and I'm thankful and gratitude.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's about finding that serenity first, that peace and that balance. And then once you get that together, now you know how to move forward, and all of a sudden all good things will come on to you.
When we get off this joint and we leave each other for that whole week, you do your own work and you re-energize yourself, and you keep energizing, you keep re-energizing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm starting to understand what it means to be on the path of Allah myself, and knowing that, times of trials and tribulations are going to come your way, and this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen to you. What matters, though, everything is going to be thrown at you. What matters, though, how you
how you respond instead of react.
Right, how you respond, how you react to it. That's what's the key. That's what's matters.
Responding instead of reacting. You don't want to react. You want to respond to it.
Right. So I'm blessed to have a soul and a spirit within me that has dealt with these type of problems from the get-go, even as a child, you know, back in my elementary days with those people, and learning firsthand at an early age through life, this is what life is about. These are the type of people that you have to deal with. This is the type of, not just people, energies. This is the energy that you have to deal with when you are a pure at heart soul, when you are a warrior who really has a love for yourself and your people. This is what's going to come your way. What matters is how strong can you stand without letting it bend your back. That's the key. So if nothing else comes from the Drop Squad, if nobody else learns anything from us at the Drop Squad, I hope that you take away that lesson about life. Don't give up. You're gonna be tested. What matters, are you gonna let it break your spine? Or are you gonna endure and keep going? Because it seems like you're depleted, you're at the point of dehydration, you can't go on no more. That's the moment. That's the moment right there that all of this is coming to, that matters the most. What matters, how you going to react to that moment right there. Because everything else is just a preparation for that type of moment. How are you going to come out of it? That's the key, people. That's the key. And so, as always, we got a good, we making good time for once. We got a good 5 minutes before we officially end at 10:30. 5 minutes now. But anyway.
Say, you gonna say something?
Yeah.
I was just listening, but I just want to reiterate chapter 1 set us up for what this is talking about. And this is very alchemical, as Kim had stated earlier on when we were in our reading. And if we keep that focus, that this is an alchemical process that's going on within these chapters, then we can use this for our benefit to help us get better and start taking away those things that are not of our highest good and for our highest purpose, because this is really what it's about, becoming better. Okay, so we don't have to keep coming down here going through this cycle and being on repeat and going through these lessons over and over again. If we keep in mind that once we pass a lesson, we move on to a new lesson. We go to higher heights. And this is what this is telling us. It's preparing us to step into our higher selves and being able to operate from a different plane of perspective and from a different consciousness. And the era of love is now. Okay. A man had to develop in order to understand what love is.
Yeah.
Wow.
All these wars that's been going on within these different countries, all on the outside, is really a reflection of what's going on within us. All the confusion and the conflict. And I just say Michael Jackson, he kind of summed up that when he said, if you want to make the world a better place, look in the mirror, and make it what? Change. How do you change the world? You don't change the world by going on the outside. If each individual would take the time to look and see what in them can be removed that is not to their highest good, and everyone or the majority of us did that, a lot of this foolishness will cease and desist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I also want to have people to reflect on the 100 monkey theory. And think about the 100 monkey theory and look that up. Think about the 100 monkey theory and then think about, sweet and bitter water can exist in the same place.
Right.
If it's bitter out there, guess what? That's showing you what the majority of the world is on.
Mm.
If it's sweet out there, guess what? It's showing you what the majority of the world is on. So anywhere you go, if it's bitter, then you know what folks is on. If it's sweet, then you know what folks is on. And so if we use those concepts in our everyday life and within our own personal work, we just going to keep rising by degree, and by degree. And let's not forget that these degrees are angles of light and consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I use
Ooh, wait. Preaching tonight. Oh Lord, saving my soul over here. That is some.
And they're just trying to program you to think that Savior is outside of yourself. That's the ultimate goal, is to make you think that, and to look to them for all the answers. The answers are within, and then that light that's within you shines through you to the rest of the world. And that's where, like you said in forgot what verse or what chapter, where your footprint is clearly cut to where people can see it. I ain't saying verbatim, but to where they can see that this where that person went, and you not just a block of wood pointing away, but you actually went that way, and that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And not allowing none of this stuff to bring doubt into your mind, because a lot of people are believing lies, eating these lies up, and regurgitating these lies. And if you don't protect yourself from it, they'll make you start eating up the lies as well.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Very true. So yeah. Yeah, y'all, keep yourself as pure as you possibly can. And before we leave y'all with this, think about this, y'all. Get right. Getting yourselves right. The way parasites work in the human body, they work on the nerves, if y'all don't know, for our audience that doesn't know. Parasites, that's the job of them, to work on the nerves. Why is it that they work on your nerves? Well, because that's the main line from the stomach to the brain, to the mind. They say that the stomach is the second, the body has two minds, right? The stomach is the first, and then the mind, well, the mind is the first, and then the stomach is the second, excuse me.
Well, 3 in the heart. It's actually 3.
3. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's 3 minds. First, the heart, stomach, and then up here. And parasites, they feed on that. Why? Because when you look at the chakra spectrum and you get to every chakra from the root, from the bottom, and you make your way up, there's a chakra that's purple, that's outside the body, right? A parasite's job when it's inside of the human's body is to keep you from getting to that outer realm. Because why? That outer realm is the final frontier, people. That's the realm of Allah. That's where God is. That's where Allah is, the creator. So when they feeding us all of this stuff, you walk into a Kroger's or Walmart, what happens? You got the produce section at the very front of the store. That's where all the real food is that we're supposed to, if we're gonna eat. That's where it's at. So it makes you think, well, if this is where the real food is, and the water and the stuff that we need, what else is in the rest of the store? But why are we running to the rest of the store instead of here first? That's why. Because a parasite is going to get in by any means necessary, but the way that they stay in is through the way that you go from everything that you shouldn't have. So from saturated fats, sugars, canola, what they call it, canola oil, the oils, all
Yeah,
these, all these oils and all these impurities in the food. This is how they keep the parasites fat and living off of you like a person that doesn't pay rent. So just remember that, people, when you trying to get right, it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be worth it. Because a parasite, when your body sees that you're trying to do right, whatever is in you to do wrong is gonna fight to the last tooth and nail to remain there. And just like Sister Faye told us about the 100 monkey theory with the sweet and the bitter water, it's the same thing. So if the water is sweet, you know what's going to happen outside. If it's bitter, you know what's going on. And that's exactly what the world is today. So you just have to remember that. You just have to remember that anything worth having, you're going to have to fight for. Just like a parasite is going to fight to remain inside of you for as long as it can to pull you down, it's gonna do it to the fight. But you also have to remember, you got to do the same thing as well. But it's the one that has Allah on their side that's gonna win. And that's why slow and steady wins the race. So with that in mind, once again, we are the Drop Squad Live show, the crew and the panel tonight. Myself, as you know, yours truly, Wilhelmina, your co-host forever. I want to thank my panel, my squad members, Brother Cam, Sister Faye, Brother Dawood with us. We are the Drop Squad family, panel, crew, whatever you want to call us. We all are one, right? Nobody is higher than the other here at the Drop Squad. So I say this with love, peace and love to everyone. And yeah, anything else my co-hosts want to say as we go out? Everybody
Continue
good?
to work on yourself.
Continue to work on yourself.
Be patient with yourself. Love yourself.
Absolutely.
Oh yes. Before we do go, this has been a great night for a study night. So we're going to continue this. And next Sunday, if it's all right with my panel, are y'all good with that? Continuing with the Quran?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. So to our future viewers, we're going to be here again next Sunday, Cosmic Sunday. That will be what, March? Are we still in February? Yes. Wait, no.
Yeah,
Today,
we still in February. It'll be March, I guess. What?
March the 1st? Yeah, March the 1st, 2020. So we'll see everyone then again. That time we'll be on from chapter 4 to 6 of the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Quran. So,
but we had also said too. Now we had also said that if the ability was to present itself, if the actual show ended at a time where we could go ahead and do some studies time on the end of whatever subject on Wednesday, where we would do it too.
oh yeah, that as well. Yes. So again, yeah, instead of Sunday, we'll be back Wednesday night. That night we'll also have Brother Oliver with us to deliver us the weekly Moorish news. And after that, we continue on with our teachings and studying of the Holy Circle 7 Quran.
Okay. Ashe.
Ashe.
Good night, everyone. We are the Drop Squad. 5 to the left, 2 to the right. We love y'all.
Right on.
Peace.
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 Good night, everybody.